Hi, I'm Graham Blackburn, and in this episode of Traditional Woodworking by Hand, we're going to make a parchment panel. So this is how we make a parchment fold. I have a piece of wood here that I've cut to fit into a particular piece of framing. And the first thing that I did was to rebate the edges of it so that the edges will actually fit into the framing. It's the middle part that we're going to now plane to look like parchment fold, to look like an open book. You can make yourself a template if you like. It's not absolutely necessary, but all I really need to do to start with is to have a line down the center of the board. Now I'm only going to need two planes. A round plane, so called because it has a round bottom, even though it makes a hollow, and a hollow plane, so called because it's in the shape of a hollow, but it makes a round. That's interesting because most molding planes are named for the shape they make, not the shape they are. There's also another really important difference which I'll demonstrate in a moment. So we start off with the round plane, and somewhere close to the center here, I'm going to very carefully make a little shaving. Now you'll notice that there's no fence, there's no guide, and in fact what I've done is make a pretty irregular groove. But the secret is that the more times that I do that, the deeper and the more regular that groove becomes. If I were to continue non-stop, eventually the shape that I'm cutting would perfectly match the bottom of the plane, and that would be a nice hollow. But another difference between hollow and round planes and molding planes is that whereas the molding planes typically need always to be held at a specific angle, the hollows and rounds you can twist and turn. And the reason is that that will enlarge the hollow. So you can see here with just a few strokes, I've formed a fairly regular hollow, right? By holding the plane upright. But look what happens if I tilt the plane a little bit. Now, the groove that I'm cutting more closely approaches this line. And I can keep doing that, ignoring what's happening on the other side, until I get very close to that line. I'm almost touching it here, so I have to take a little more off here. And I do that a few times until I get very close to the line. Makes little grooves here, I can plane that. But I am free to move the plane from vertical to sideways to the other side. The more I tilt it this way, the closer I get to my center line. So you can see I'm almost there. I'm within an 1/8 of an inch here and a little bit of a 1/4 of an inch there. Now I'm pretty close to the line. At this point, I'll smooth this bit out a little bit. And remember, this is not metal, it's not machinery, it's wood. It's supposed to look like wood. So a few marks of the plane is par for the course, and in fact takes advantage of the fact that we are using wood. Now, having made a hollow on this side of the center line, I'm going to make a matching hollow on this side of the line. I do the same thing. I start off carefully, just making as straight a cut as I can. And of course, it's not very straight, but increasingly, as I repeat it, that curve will become more regular until eventually I can approach the center line, and you'll see in a moment that this center line is now becoming quite sharp. I need to take a little bit more of this side, and I think at this point just a little more here. Now if you look very closely, you'll find that this center line is really straight and really sharp. That's how I make matching coves in the wood. Now I have to make the outside round. So I use the plane's partner. And this is the plane that has the hollow bottom. And I start off by holding it as flat to the rebate as I can and slowly tilt it upright. And you'll notice that now this side of the wood is beginning to turn into a nice little round curve. I should point out that in a pinch, as long as you have a round plane, you can even do this without a matching hollow plane, because you could do it with a block plane. Any plane, since it's a convex surface, you can use to make that nice and round. So we'll just keep doing this until it's pretty round. And then do the same on the other side, holding the plane low to start with. Takes a nice cut, and then slowly tilt the plane up until it becomes rounder and rounder and rounder. There's a certain amount of backwards and forths here, because this, after all, is handwork, it's not machine work. And at a certain point I might think, oh, it would look nice if this curve was a little closer to here. So I can go back to the round plane, and using this, remember, if I tilt it at an angle, it will enlarge the hollow. I can do this. And I don't have to go the whole length. I can just do the end that needs to work to it. And at this stage of the game, I pretty much have a nice matching curve. We can match this just a little nicer here. The degree to which you want perfection is up to you. There we go here. And now, basically, without wasting too much more time, I've made something that is like this. Let me show you another example that I had started before, so you can see what it looks like. Here was a little test piece which I hadn't made the tonguing for, but you can see how it slopes nicely to a really sharp central line, and then slopes nicely to the other side. All that remains to make this look like the pages of a book is to take my template again, and I can turn it in half and hold this in the middle, and then I can open it up, and with my handy dandy pencil I can scribe around here like this, and scribe around here. And now all I have to do is to relieve this amount of wood until it's level with the rabbit that I'd done. The easiest way to do that is simply to find a gouge with a slope or a curve that most nearly approximates the shape of the end of the wood that I need. So I'll hold this vertically, and I'll put it on the line, and I'll tap, I'll tap, I'll tap, and I'll tap, I'll tap. And when I get to here, turn it around, and do it the other way. It's the easiest way to do that. And then very carefully break out the wood up to where I split it. Looks like I need a little more here, more here. Then this should break out. There, you see it, it goes already. And I just keep doing that until I've removed the end, the shaped end of the parchment to where it will be flush with this. Rather than waste time showing you the whole operation, let me show you what that looks like when it's totally done. There's the line that I did, and I simply doing exactly the same thing there. Use the chisel to come down and then make sure that this was perfectly flat. I can do that at the top, or I can do it at the top and the bottom. The choices are endless. These are very narrow ones, but here is an example of a much bigger parchment fold. But that's really all there is to it. You need to start out with a piece of wood that has a rabbet thin enough to fit into the framing. You need a round plane to make the curve, and as you saw, by tilting the plane you can enlarge the groove and you can actually end up with a very straight and sharp line. And then you use the matching hollow plane to make it round. And then the third and final thing is simply to describe the end here, and with a chisel that down until it's flush. I think that's a pretty simple procedure, but I think the effect is really quite astonishing to have a really nice paneled shape that looks like an open book. I believe in the beginning when they first started doing this, very often this was done in churches and it was supposed to represent, the holy book or whatever. But this is parchment fold, and this is all you need to do it. A round plane, a hollow plane, and a chisel that more or less represents that curve. Next time, we're going to talk about more complicated versions of panel design, and we will include examples of what's known as linen fold, where using basically the same techniques with just round planes and hollow planes, we, instead of making it just look like a simple book, we make it look like cloth that's been folded over. That's a little trickier because we have more carving to do at the end, but basically the procedure is really, really simple. So I hope you like that. I hope you try it. Don't forget to hit the button, send me comments, hit the like button, and we can learn a whole lot more about traditional woodworking using hand tools. Thank you.